I read you a little bit before where we are, like that you can see the situation.
Yes.
I have no money. I don't see why I shall pay an attorney to do the police job, so I let go.
Hmm.
I have no money. I don't see why I shall pay an attorney to do the police job, so I let go. Because
Yeah, let go. I thought you said it didn't. Right. Yeah.
negotiation goes all the way to May 12th when we negotiate a final clean break. This clean break is one of two deals. The V1 where David leaves and all of that and my 6 month salary in deal 2. And the book rights for all the material that has been created. Everything is solved. Final agreement. No room to negotiate. I finally relax. Ors comes back to me saying there's two ways forward. Either I personally guarantee David 300k euros, or there is a complicated process with an interim buyer and a final buyer. To which I explain the deal again, or say there's no deal.
Yeah. And I also say, if David says the agreement means I personally guarantee, great. It's not company business anymore. Like, David can go get that guarantee in court.
Everything re-explode.
Yeah.
Then Eva is confused because she thought it was resolved too. Then Ors get attorney opinion that the deal was bad. I propose a negotiate deal 2 without David, which should resolve things for the company, and then if David doesn't want nego term V1, I'll keep my claim.
Yeah.
Then they say they are negotiating an adequate replacement of nego term V1. I'm like, okay, whatever. If there's an adequate replacement, I will sign it. I give them 2 weeks. In the meantime, deal 2 gets signed on May 12th. It's called Clean Break.
Yes.
Which would resolve everything in good faith if it was good faith and if my privacy was not violated. But I also have the problem that I own 51% of the company.
Well, I don't have the problem. They have that problem. Yeah.
This agreement doesn't affect any shareholder's right.
Yes.
But then I open my email and it's filled with Swisslog. Also, they go past the deadline of 2 weeks I gave to negotiate with David. Then they sign an agreement with David that I'm not even asked to sign, and in no way is an adequate replacement, as Ors get the shares and the agreement is with Goatee, not David. Parties are not even the same, and no terms are the same either.
Yes.
David then puts an email saying he's dropping all claims against me, which was one of Eva's condition. In this period, the company also cancelled the rent with the landlord and let the landlord believe I was going, creating an adjacent crisis of living condition for me, with the landlord suing me. I believe that if the healing process worked and that the company bookkeeping is correct, that I understand the share change, everything could be good still. The software they want is only usable by me. I offer win-win extra, but Urs doesn't want to discuss any win-win extra. He lists what he wants. Comment all the code, create a virtual runtime environment with a preset scenario that are useful. I say that's not part of the contract, or starts yelling at me that nothing will be discussed until the contract is fulfilled. So they threaten me again with breach of contract.
Yeah. 2 months before the deadlines. Like, so it's just like, how do you like? That's not how you do business. You don't say someone's in breach of contract before the deadlines even exist, right? And then and you don't. Anyways, it's just, and I'm a shareholder, so I should be treated impartially. They should go in if they say it's going to be a breach of contract and not do this. They should get an impartial opinion. But anyways, it's all to keep the conflict going, because at this moment it's really really close for things being resolved between Ava and I. Because I'm like, whatever, David's gone, he resigned, right? And then, like, if he just wants to, like, Urs have the shares to, like, spite me, like, why does David care, right? But if David just wants that Urs gets his shares so that it, like, is a bit more damaging to me, then okay, whatever, don't take the deal. Like, so this is the situation. But more chaos. This is with that now where, like, I thought the chaos would start to be resolved with David gone, but now he's gone, and the chaos just continues. And the reason, like, well, I think it's pretty clear in the videos, like, 'cause we record all the shareholders meetings, and I think the reason's pretty clear that Urs knows the share, what he did with the shares could be challenged, right? Because he does it in secret with David. I say it seems illegal, like he clearly knows I think it's illegal, right? We argue about it several times in different meetings, and then he'll just change the subject. So how no one else picked up on that was a mystery to me. Like, we're arguing about something pretty important. We don't come to an agreement, right? Urs changes the subject, and everyone's just like, I don't know, like, so for me, that's the big mystery, is I don't understand how they've not discussed the issue. Like, I brought it up 100 times, and it's what triggered the crisis, right? My letter about the registered shares. It's what triggered the whole escalation. And then Urs's letter doesn't say they have. He just says he says it's overdue, right? So Urs's own letter, right, says it's whatever's owed, whether it's my shares or the company's, whatever it is overdue. So it's clearly not happened yet. So, and then Lauren reads the Companies Act, asks me for the registered share. So this is the big mystery to me. I don't understand how their decisions are rational. I'm not sure you need to write that down. But
yeah, because I write only events.
Yeah, so. Exactly. But just, I think for the recording, to understand my state of mind, the deal, like, I make clear that in this clean break thing, I'm not giving up any shareholder rights. I even say to Ava, like, it would be crazy to sign such a deal and board members could transfer your shares the day before, right? And then sign. And then be, haha, we have all your shares, right? So I'm like, the deal has nothing to do with shareholder rights. They also, because they're a board, right, the auditor tells them, yeah, you can't really affect shareholder rights in this deal because the board, it makes all sorts of legal problems, right?
I mean, I don't, like, here's the thing, like, the board cannot influence shareholders right at any point.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not how it works.
So the auditor tells them that. So they're like, yeah, it doesn't affect any shareholder rights, because they were trying to set up the deal, and they then confirmed that. So this is just, they then confirmed that in the next event that happened, because the shareholders meetings that I called still haven't happened.
Yeah, I know.
Right. So after signing the clean break,
the shareholder meeting that I called still didn't happen at that point.
Yes. So in parallel to Urs, I'm trying to be good faith. Let's negotiate win-win extras. That's what would stabilize the situation. That there's collaboration that restarts. I'm reinvested in the company, and its success, and they're reinvested in me because I'm adding value to the company, and they're still paying me anyways. So why not agree that I'm contributing in some way, and then so that would have stabilized the situation. So just in pure business, that was the business thing to do. But they reject that. In parallel, they set up this clean break. They thought they could prevent me from speaking in shareholders' meetings. So that was the other issue about shareholders' rights. Because there's one clause where they present this, they're afraid that I speak in shareholders' meetings, right? And then their incompetence is revealed, basically. So they have this, I can't say anything negative about them. This one clause, like no negativity. And then it's phrased, I can't say anything negative or misleading. So I try to negotiate, and in public or otherwise. That's the phrase. Eric will not say anything negative about SFCO and people, and negative or misleading in public or otherwise, which is like the whole universe, right? So I'm like, so I negotiated that. I'm like, well, if it was negative and misleading, yeah, I could commit to not, mislead people or lie, right? But then you have to prove that it's a lie, that I'm misleading people. But it's no, it has to be negative or misleading. I'm like, well, what's negative in itself, right? It's just subjective, right? Yeah. Anything can be negative. So I explained this, but it's non-negotiable. And then, so I'm like, okay, well, if this applies to me, it applies to the company too. So usually when a clause is crazy, if you make them if you make it apply to them, right, then they, okay, yeah, we can't have this, right? But they just like drop it into the responsibilities of the company. So companies can't say anything negative about me in public or otherwise.
I mean, well, good luck with that.
Yeah, so so this is where I start to like, and then they have the attorney, like several attorneys plus the auditor reviewing this contract.
Yeah.
So like I expect, I put this clause into the responsibilities of the company. I expect an attorney or an auditor to be like, okay, guys, like this is, you can't have this.
Mm-hmm.
So like, but it's still not acceptable to me, obviously. Like, okay, they put it in the
Obviously.
yeah, they put it in the responsibilities of the company.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously still not acceptable. I can't possibly sign that. So I add the clause except under NDA, right? And then which would and I'm not giving up any shareholders' rights. So obviously I have a right to express myself in shareholders' meetings. Like it was clearly that's what they were aiming at. That I couldn't say anything negative about them. I couldn't criticize them even in shareholders' meetings.
Mm.
So whatever, NDA covers that, and that doesn't give up any shareholders' rights, which Urs, the chair of the board, confirmed in an email. The deal does not affect shareholders' rights, which it could not, because then like a board take it, like they at least the auditor and attorney explained to them they couldn't like constrain a shareholder right, because then it gets into like different anyways. And just because you don't have to write this down, but it's kind of important for the circumstance. They have the attorney, Vile, review these contracts, and the auditor, after the auditor and attorney's review, all they do is try to add back wording that I'm dropping claims against company agents, right? But I changed it to I'm dropping claims against a specific list of individuals. No one else. Not David, no company legal services. Like, why drop claims against company legal services? Right? Like all of this conflicts of interest or whatever, the thing to do is drop them, get new impartial people, right? And then review if we can sue them for damages. Like, this is insanely damaging, this whole process. And one of the root causes is company legal agents acting in their own benefit instead of the benefit of the company. So whatever, I'm never going to drop claims against company legal services, and they're the best people not to drop claims against because they have nothing on me, right? They're supposed to serve the company impartially. Like, I have no obligations to them. So just so people listening know the damages, just how, like, when somebody's not supposed to have a conflict of interest, and then they do, just how crazy things can get. Because I add the except under NDA condition to this no negativity thing. Attorney, auditor, reviews the contract or whatever, don't even bother saying, oh, I'll copy and paste that to the company responsibility. So the company's responsibility is, can't say anything negative about Eric, negative or misleading about Eric in public or otherwise. No exceptions. Right? And I explained to Ava, like, as it worded as it is, like, just saying negative things to your own attorneys is, right, in public or otherwise, right? Otherwise, like, what the whole universe. So they review to try to add back wording that would drop claims against company agents, and they don't even spot.
They don't
even spot this. Like, okay. So anyways, so this is just like it's not really an event, but it's like any impartial person would and they don't criticize the €60,000 minimum breach for even non-technical, like technical breaches. So non-damaging technical breaches of the contract would cost €60,000. So like any impartial, so this is when it's also fully confirmed the auditor and the attorney, right, are in zero way impartial. No impartial legal expert would recommend signing this agreement. They also sign it only as board members, not as individuals, right? Because they're trying to like maintain this fantasy that they're not self-dealing in their own interests in all of this, right? Getting David's shares, right? Trying to shut me up as a shareholder, etc. Right? They're dealing with the company dropping claims against me and me dropping claims against the company and them. Right? They're dealing on their own benefit to get me to drop claims against them. And the claims dropping to it only covers known events up to the present, to the extent legally possible. So known events is I'm not going to drop claims about anything I don't know about. Right? So one key thing is they they deny, well, they just don't say anything about the legal briefs and opinions that exist when I was still board member, hidden from me. So I don't have no information about that. It seems impossible that they didn't get any lawyer advice during that time. But they never told me, they didn't disclose, they refused to answer the question, so they stonewall me. So there's that. Then obviously the emails, right? I don't know about that. They keep on telling me they haven't been reading my emails, right? So known events, I'm not dropping claims against anything I don't know about. So again, that's irrational to sign because there's all sorts of information, or then disclose everything. Like, okay, Eric, this is really what happened. So that you have the same information as us and we're dropping claims against everything. And I tell them that, like, if you want something to be dropped, you got to tell me before the deal is signed, right? So there's that, and then extent legally possible. I can't legally drop claims about money laundering, right? And then up to the present, obviously I'm not going to drop claims about things that haven't even happened yet.
Sure, yeah.
So this is the phrasing, and then so this becomes relevant late. Well, this is just relevant for like the legal events that follow. But so anyways, then the next event that happens is they also send me we start this new argument right away, about the win-win extras.
Yeah,
right?
That's the win-win extras we are. Or start yelling at me, nothing will be discussed until the contract is fulfilled, so they threaten me again with breach of contract.
Yeah.
Then the shareholders meeting that I called still didn't happen at that point.
Yes, so now they send me a letter that shouldn't the shareholders meeting be cancelled because it's negative?
Send me a letter to say that they will not.
Well, they want to. Well, they ask me that shouldn't they argue that the shareholders meeting should be cancelled because it's negative.
And they send me a letter to say that the shareholders meeting should be cancelled because it's negative.
Yes.
Okay.
To which I respond, well, the deal doesn't affect my shareholder rights.
I respond that the deal doesn't affect my shareholders' right, aka
Calling meetings.
calling
Yeah.
a meeting.
And this meeting's already been called, so the board called it.
And then okay.
So then, so this is like the whole legal setup, and then everything that follows there's just events that can happen really quick.
Let's go.
Said really quickly. So let's go.
Give me the events
yes.
quickly. Bam, bam, bam.
So so we're in this new conflict. The shareholders meeting arrives.
Oh, it arrives still.
Yeah, well, it was scheduled for we made this deal.
Yeah, so you respond that it's your right, and so shareholders meeting happen.
Yeah, and then I offer to replace the agenda.
Happen.
I offer to replace the agenda with just a single agenda point of a free discussion to generate resolutions.
I offer to replace the agenda by a free flow discussion to
discuss resolutions.
Discuss global resolution.
So they reject that, and then that we can
Reject that.
then they have they then in the shareholders meeting vote out the agenda points. Well, we do one agenda point, which is my question. I ask every single board member if legal opinions existed when I was still chair of the board that were hidden from me. Every single board member, including Will, who's supposed to be investigating, right? If my treatment was fair, that was his mandate. Says no comment.
Okay, so now can you explain me that? So, the shareholders meeting happened.
Yeah.
You're at the shareholders meeting, you go, I offer to replace the agenda by a free flow discussion for global resolution.
Yeah.
They go like, no.
Yeah.
Okay, then what happened?
In the shareholders meeting, we managed to do one agenda point on the question, one agenda point was questions about the legal briefs that existed, paid by the company when I was still a member of the board.
Legal briefs?
Like legal briefs and opinions.
Okay.
Right, because they get advice from Ville, right, who's the company's attorney at that point.
So the first point of the agenda that is executed is legal brief.
Yeah, well, the if legal briefs and opinions existed when I was still board member, that like hidden from me.
If legal briefs and opinion did exist while I was still
board member.
So this is a question that is asked individually to every
I asked
shareholder.
every director individually. They all say no comment.
This question is asked to all shareholders. Their answer is no comment.
Then they just vote out of the meeting the rest of the agenda points.
Out of the meeting the rest of the agenda points. Okay? They can do that?
No, totally illegal.
Okay.
But apparently Ville told them they could. So, and again, they go to Ville, they're like, well, Eric's recommending we just do a big discussion.
So, basically, if I arrive at my shareholders meeting,
yeah,
and I go like, well, these are the points. First, I propose we vote out all these points and end the meeting. Then I go like, I have 60%. I vote everything out, and I don't have to give you the account.
Yeah,
I can do that. I mean,
no, totally illegal.
It is totally illegal. Okay.
And then their reasoning, Ville creates this crazy doctrine. Like, there is a situation where the board can refuse to put stuff on the agenda before the meeting happens. Like, if you can buy one share in whatever, Microsoft, right, and then request things put on the agenda of Microsoft shareholders meeting.
Yeah.
Right? So in this situation, right, the board can be like, no.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then, but still, that can give rise to a court case to force the board to do it. So that's been like an environmental activism strategy. You get like a couple of shares in like BP or whatever, and then you request shareholder agenda points,
Yeah.
right? And then you go to court, and then because the board will say, oh, it's not a shareholder issue,
Yeah.
right? Board deals with that. But then you can go to court and try to argue that it is illegitimate, right? But obviously, if you just sent gibberish, right?
Yeah, sure.
Right? So in this situation, if you have one share in a company, but that's not the situation. I have more than 10%, which in Finnish law gives me the right to put demand. That's the phrasing. I can demand a shareholders meeting on any issue,
Yeah.
right? And then the meetings the agenda points have already been called. The meeting is already happening, right? And then the law is the competence of the meeting are the agenda points on the meeting.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
So this is just totally. So now now it's just weird. So now it's just weird. They reject a free discussion because I'm like, let's have a free discussion, see if we can find a resolution, and then if we can't, okay, then we do these conflictual shareholders meetings, right? Because for the email, I'd accept that just Urs takes some responsibility, right? He accessed my email, whatever. Or that we submit that to arbitration, some third party, whatever. So there's plenty of resolutions possible. Then they do this. So then, but they did accept that, I called for a special audit. And they did accept that I had the power to call for a special audit.
Okay. They did accept that I can call for a special audit.
So then I've called I've called a few. So anyways, then this is summer.
You have to go in point. This shareholder meeting, you offered to replace the agenda by a free flow discussion, discuss global resolution. They reject that. The first part of the agenda is executed. If legal briefs and opinion did exist while you were still board member, they all say no comment. Then they vote out of the meeting the rest of the agenda point. So this is the end of the meeting?
Yeah.
This is the end of the meeting. Okay. This is the end of the meeting. Okay. Then what?
Then I get I've not been able to get like four attorneys, maybe 5, 4 or 5 have like agreed to help me, and I just send them send the evidence. They're like, okay, yeah, sounds like the emails thing. Right?
At that point, well, the meeting end like.
Yeah. Well, the meeting's over like that.
But you there. I have 51%. I vote.
Well, no. They're still maintaining. They're still maintaining that I have 26%.
It's not true.
Yeah, but they don't. So the on that issue, I then request the shareholder registry, which then URS creates for the first time. So there has not been a share. They have not been like they do. They have not been. Like they didn't even make a new share registry for the first shareholders meeting, right, where I'm removed from the board. So he makes it for the first time then. No board meetings, no board minutes about it, because I return to the board and I get all the board minutes from this period. And they give it to me, and then I'm like, how is this possibly illegal? I asked him about it.
When did that
in the summer. I asked them about it, I asked Gabe about it, whatever.
So this is the end of the meeting.
Yeah.
Then you like, okay, that's weird that they could have voted that out, because I have 51%.
Well, it's clearly illegal. I kept on telling them that it's clearly illegal.
Yeah, okay, but like, yeah, okay, no, go event.
Yeah.
This
Well,
is
just say 3 things happen in parallel, because then
okay.
3 things happen in parallel. I think that's the best way to do it.
In parallel.
Yes. So these shareholder meeting conflicts.
Yeah.
Of which there's like a few. I think there's like 3.
Meetings?
Shareholder extraordinary. Like I called like 3 or 4 shareholder meetings.
Yeah.
That then happen.
Yeah.
And they're all on this, like, whatever, just shareholder meeting conflicts. Shareholder meetings happen that are conflictual. Boards.
Shareholder meeting conflict happen a few times.
Board just doesn't answer questions, basically.
Board not answering questions. Okay.
So that's happening. Then I'm asking, I request the share registry.
I requested the share registry.
And then start asking how it's possibly legal.
And start asking how is this possibly legal.
I even write an email with the subject, questions about the registered shares, and I specifically asked them to look into it and report if there's any deception involved in making the share registry. So so that's happening, and then there's I file the criminal claims about the emails.
Yeah.
And David's blackmail, because David didn't.
The criminal claims
about the email and David's blackmail letter.
And David's blackmail.
In the police online system.
In the police online system. These are the 3 things that happen. System. First, this shareholders meeting conflict happened a few times, board not answering question. Yeah. Second, you requested the share registry and start asking how is this possibly legal.
Yeah.
Third, I filed the criminal claim about emails and David's blackmail in the police online system.
Yes.
Okay, so now events back.
Then also I get before filing the claims, just before filing the claims, I sign with an attorney to negotiate.
I have signed with an attorney to negotiate
And file the money laundering claims.
and file the money laundering suspicion.
Well, suspicion. Well, claim. Well, claim. Well, it's whatever.
That's not a claim. Legally, that's not a claim. That's a suspicion.
Sure, whatever. But
It's important.
sure, yeah. But that's the attorney's job.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So like, anyways, he withdraws. Long story short, I say I'm collecting the evidence about the money laundering because he spends 3 weeks not negotiating.
You know, I'm still in the three things happen in parallel.
Yeah. Well, this attorney thing is just right before filing the claims.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And it just whatever. He spends 3 weeks not negotiating. Then he refuses to file the evidence, and he withdraws from the case.
No, suspicion, but he refused and
Withdraws
withdraw
from the case. No explanation.
from the case. No explanation.
No time to find another attorney.
Okay. Okay.
So I filed the claims. Yeah. So you got there's a share registry, the claims, and the. What I said 3 things. Do you have 3 or just 2?
Yeah, I have 3, and the third thing is the shareholders meeting conflict happened a few times. Board meeting.
Yeah.
Not, board not answering questions.
So okay. So there's nothing. So then. Like okay, obviously nothing gets resolved.
Nothing gets resolved. The only advance in the situation is myself entering manually my claims into the police system,
Online system, yeah.
in the police online system. That's basically the only thing that advance if I look at it.
Yeah. And
like,
nothing else is resolved. I'm offering attorney mediation
Yeah. So
and judge mediation.
I'm sure you're doing everything
Yes.
to try to resolve that, but basically nothing gets resolved.
Yes.
Okay.
So then I'm waiting. And then in this autumn.
Then it is autumn. Autumn 2021.
Yeah. And I start to be told that I'm under investigation
Told
by Ava.
by Eva that I'm under investigation.
I'm a criminal.
I'm under investigation on what's the crime?
I'm not told.
Okay, I'm under investigation. That's what you're told.
I'm a criminal. I'm even going to jail at one point, she says.
Investigation, and that I might go to
Not
jail.
might go to jail, like you're going to jail.
Then I will go to jail.
Yes. So now this like
That's next level.
yeah, now it's next level, and like so I've talked to police. I filed my claims right in the summer. No one's phoned me, so that seems weird to me. But then being told that I'm under investigation
By Eva.
by Ava, yeah,
Okay.
super weird.
Well, yeah, it is. But I mean, how would she know?
Because at that point I have no clue what they're talking about.
Like, this is the thing. Like, you're under investigation, but Eva told you that. What is the world where she can possibly know you are under investigation? She's not from the police.
Well, then later she tells me that she's been talking, that she had the meetings with the police and the prosecutor and her attorney.
but they don't do their job. You had meeting with the police, and you filed claims.
Yeah, they don't
And
talk
you're
to
not
me.
even sure
Yeah.
if they talk to you. So how Eva
No,
is
so
sure that?
Well, because she gets to talk to the prosecutor and the police and
but
so on,
but not you.
but
Okay.
not me. So this is when things start to get weird. So I've been I've informed the auditor about the money laundering,
Yeah.
about I've informed about claims
From
that were just lies,
auditor about the money laundering.
and lots of just straight lots of plain
Claims
lies
that
and lots of lies.
uh,
Like David doesn't have a conflict of interest.
claims that are lies and money laundering, multiple
Lies,
lies,
and she never does anything.
and she never does anything.
So, like, so already that's weird. Like, why would the auditor be covering for David? And then now, why would the police be investigate? Like, because if I was on the bottom of if the police were lazy, and I was on the bottom of the pile, okay, whatever. Like, I don't expect much.
No, but maybe you are, and Eva is just interpreting things.
No, I don't know. This is what I'm just saying. This is what the information I have.
Yeah.
So it starts to get weird, right? Like, it's weird. I don't know what's going on, but it's weird, right? And then finally, like, I think about it, and I'm just like, they got nothing on me. Plus the clean break, right, drops all claims, and they know everything I did as CEO because I was like totally transparent.
Mm-hmm.
So all the claims that they dropped in the clean break against me are like the totality of anything I've ever done, right? So I'm just like, there's no way I'm going to jail. There's no way I've done a crime, right? And this is just more intimidation. Like, that's their only playbook, right? So I tell Ava. So then it's December comes around. I tell Ava in a text, right? And I know all the texts go to the lawyers, right? I tell Ava in a text that I'm glad I'm under investigation. I've been trying to talk to the police for months and give them the evidence about money laundering, and if I'm under investigation, then I can finally do that. Great. So this is the week before Christmas.
Yeah.
Or 2 weeks before. Anyways, the Friday before Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess 5 or 6 days, whatever. Police officer phones me, and this is 3 days after telling Ava, like, great. 3 days after.
A police officer
Phones 3 days after.
phones me a few days after.
Yeah.
What's his name?
It's her. I can get it if you want.
What's her name?
So Senior Constable Korkia Tupa.
Name.
K-O-R.
Korkiatu. Senior investigate? No.
Well, Senior Police Constable. Senior Constable is how she
Senior
signs.
Police Constable.
Like, here's her signature on her email.
Senior Constable Korkiatupa.
Yeah.
Constable Korkiatupa. Korkiatupa. Okay.
Right, and like, so then she phones me.
Yeah, saying.
So that she's doing the pre-trial investigation, is what they call it in Finland.
She is doing the pre-trial investigation.
That's what it's called investigations, just called pre-trial investigation in Finland.
Okay.
And then
Sure.
And then she says, you have been suspected for the crime of sending too many messages.
Been suspected suspected for the crimes of sending too many messages.
Yes.
To who?
That's just all she says. Then I say, where in the law is that a crime?
Yeah. To which I say, where in the law is this a crime?
And then she just like panics and says, I've been suspected of breaching the Communications and Transmission Act.
I breach the Communication and
Transmission Act.
Transmission Act.
So, okay, so now clearly, how did this happen? I don't know. But obviously, this was a bullshit investigation.
Well, certainly she's not from the police.
No,
it's a joke.
this is. It sounds like a joke, but this is police.fi. This is her emailing me in the follow up.
Is this a real email at police?
C.fi, yeah.
No. Just
This is their website. Look.
this is their website. You
Yeah,
sure?
yeah.
It's not with a no way.
Police is spelled that way in Finnish.
My God, holy shit! Wow. Fuck. Okay.
So,
The Communication and Transmission Act. I love it.
which I've not even been able to find, but obviously if it exists, it's about like broadcasting.
Okay.
Or like what sort of radios you can use in like
Okay.
your construction site or whatever.
Okay.
Like, so then I'm like, so this is the problem when police engage in this kind of corruption with someone who knows how the law works and is not intimidated. Because in Finland, like, what do I act like? I don't have anything to fear. Like, it's not like Mexico or like Indonesia going to prison in Finland. So like, even if they did have something on me, like, it's rehabilitation system, right?
Yeah.
Like
Got a job.
yeah,
Paid.
yeah. It might be more.
Don't worry. Might be
be-
better than your situation right now, to be honest.
Exactly. So like, I don't fear the police. In this situation, once I start to think that maybe they'll murder me, now I fear them.
Yeah.
But I don't fear the law in Finland. That's why I live in Finland.
Yeah.
Because, with entrepreneurs, we take all sorts of risks and we don't know everything and so on. Okay, like some bureaucratic thing. I sign papers all the time. I don't fully understand what I'm signing all the time. Because there's like lots of complicated legal processes and deals and so on.
Yeah.
And it's impossible to know what the liability is for everything you do. So you just have to accept that whatever, maybe they get you,
Yeah.
right?
Sure.
Whatever. And then you read like, so I'm not intimidated by police because I live in Finland. Like if this was in some, dictatorship, Iran or whatever, I wouldn't be doing this. So
Sure.
well, maybe is Iran a dictatorship?
Iran
let's
is not
say
a
Saudi
dictatorship.
Arabia.
No,
Saudi
Iran,
Arabia.
Yeah, Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Much more. They got a little king.
They got a. Yeah.
But still, I wouldn't play with fire in Iran either. But
Sure.
Saudi Arabia even less. The point is, I'm like, so this is how do you bug this kind of police corruption, right? Because then she says immediately, which is what I expected. As a suspect, I have the right to refuse the investigation being closed because they want to close the investigation. So says she's been suspected of a crime. I have a right to know I've been suspected,
Yeah.
and that they've been investigating me.
Yeah.
And as a suspect, I have a right to refuse the investigation being closed.
So she phoned you. She said you've been suspected of this crime.
She's investigating.
She's investigating. She's like, but my intention is to close the case.
They want to close the case because the claims are dropped. I tell Ava I want to talk to police. That goes to Ava's attorney. Ava's attorney panics. Well, this is what I imagine happened. Ava's attorney panics, right? And then convinces Ava to drop the claims,
Yeah.
right? Then the police are like, okay, whatever, we'll drop the claims. Like whatever, intimidating me didn't work, so whatever, they'll drop the claims. They get this senior, like, which is already a bizarre conversation because there's no interpreter. And whenever they want to like delay a process or frustrate a process or whatever, they're like, well, law in Finland has to be in Finnish or Swedish. We need an interpreter. But there's no interpreter in this conversation. I also say, can I record this call? She says no.
Yeah.
No, well, another police officer later tells me that of course you can record police in Finland. In other countries, different. The point is, she says no, I can't record it. There's no interpreter, aka no witness to the call, right? So, anyways, So already it's kind of bizarre, the setup. Then I'm like, okay, great. I refuse the investigation being closed. I want to come into questioning, and I confess. I confess to sending too many messages. I talk a lot. If it's a crime, I'm guilty. Put me away. And like so then she's just like, then it's an hour to get her to finally agree that I can come into questioning. First she's like, oh well, we'd have to need an interpreter. I'm like, then get one. And anyway, so and I explained for an hour the whole money laundering, like why this was done to intimidate me, the previous attempt.
In this phone call?
In this phone call,
to
yeah.
the senior...
Police constable, senior constable Korkiatupa.
So well, just laughing because she thought she would have an easy call. You know, like from her perspective. It's just, okay, I'm phoning that guy saying, okay, you are in an investigation, but then we close it. Are you happy with that? Okay, yeah, have a good day. But it didn't happen that way at all. It just didn't follow that time. It just didn't follow that roadmap.
Because the optimum strategy, you're accused, police, and this is not random people, right? This is not David accusing me of being illegitimate CEO or whatever. This is a senior constable, right?
I don't know what is a constable.
Well, it's just like another word for police officer.
Okay.
But point is, it's like the police accusing me of this crime that doesn't exist. So confess.
Yeah.
Right? Like I have a right to confess, right? Pay my debt to society. So I'm like, okay, I want to come into questioning, and I confess, by the way. And then
to which I say I confess, and I want to come for the questioning about, and here I explained for an hour on this phone call the thing,
the money laundering, and how this
thing. What does she say?
Well, she tries to, like, for an hour, she tries to convince me not to be questioned.
Okay. To which she answered, it would be a bad idea to question that guy. It would be a bad idea to question me. And I shall not want to be questioned. Okay.
Yeah. So then, but finally she says, okay, I'll send you times to come in for questioning.
But then she give up and say, okay, I will send you time to come for questioning. You did the reverse.
So I'm like, great.
You did the reverse. Everybody wants to, I don't want to answer Paul's question. You're like, I want to answer Paul's question. The police is like, no. We don't want this guy answering questions. My God.
Yeah. So what's happening? Like, I don't know what's happening. But finally, I'm like, so however it happened, I'm like, finally, I can come into questioning and tell my story.
Yeah.
Also, like, when the police question you, you have to tell the truth.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the problem when you start an investigation on somebody.
Yeah.
So it also makes me fully immune to NDA claims.
Yeah.
Right. Whatever police question, I answer. Mm-hmm. Right, and then the other question. Right. So then so then after this call, so this is December 10th.
Yeah. Okay.
So like 2 weeks before Christmas.
Sure.
And then she sends me, right, but like this is the same day. Mm-hmm. She sends me an email. So here is my email. I will propose questioning times to you on Monday. Mm-hmm. I'm off work on the weekend.
Police, yeah.
Great.
Yeah, we know they don't work in the weekend.
Yeah. And then, you can just commit your crimes on the weekend in Finland.
It's better, yeah. Yeah.
And then Monday, December 13th, Monday. So I double checked from my superior about this case between you and Eva. This was the first time ever when offender wanted to have questioning when claims has removed on the case. And like I said, Lika, I said on the phone, investigation has ended. That's not what she said. She said she was investigating. She was still like doing the active investigation. Yeah. As that's how the law works, right? You're still investigating until the case is closed, and the case only gets closed if the claims are dropped prosecutor drops claims, and I don't refuse the case being closed. So anyways, this is just a lie. And because Ava removed her claims, pre-trial investigation has ended. Right. Also, she puts in writing, pre-trial investigation has ended. There has been a pre-trial investigation. Because later they send me a paper that says they never did a pre-trial investigation at all. So they just try to like get rid of everything. Get rid of the evidence. This is fucking police getting rid of the evidence. But they put it in an email. And why does she put it in an email? Because she doesn't want to go down, right? This is her. I double checked with my superior. She's just doing what she's told. Right? She's fucking covered her liability pretty well in this letter. I'm proud. Right? Because she was clearly not comfortable with the whole first conversation.
Sure.
Right? And like, she told me my rights. I exercised my rights. She respected my rights to say I could go in for questioning, right? So she's just like a pawn in all this. Like when Ray asks what is my place in all this, a fucking pawn. Anyways. Okay, pre-trial investigation has ended. Violation against freedom of communication is a complaint offense. Well, have I violated freedom of communication? Yeah. And when complainant removes claims against investigation, and as I said, can't accuse you again in this case. I will send the decision to you by letter. How do you feel about the mediation? Can you send your contact information to the Tampere mediation? About the money laundering, which is what I talked about for an hour. And mediation, great. I've been proposing mediation for now almost a year, so I totally agree with that sentiment. But people refuse. Anyways, about the money laundering, contact National Bureau of Investigation about that. If you feel that police has done offense, you can make a report about it, and prosecutor will investigate that.
Perfect.
She's fucking covered her ass pretty well.
Yeah, and it's good.
And it's good. And it's the truth.
It's the truth. So you're like, okay, fine, let's go.
Yeah. So then what happens even weirder? So I write back like, what? Like you tell me three days ago that my right is I can refuse the investigation being closed, and what are you even saying? Like everything that happens for the first time at least once, right? Mm-hmm. Right? Like it's a right or it's not. Who cares whether it's happened before or not? And then
she emailed me saying
they refuse. They won't allow me to refuse.
They won't allow me to come for question. Okay. And for the money laundering, I should contact
National Bureau,
and a prosecutor will take the case. Okay. So then what happened?
Well, the National Bureau about the money laundering, and then if I feel the police has done an offense, then a prosecutor will investigate that.
Okay. National Bureau. Okay.
So then, like she's clearly she clearly knows what's going down. Like obviously, she clearly knows that illegals. Why does she volunteer this information? Like she clearly knows I'm going to be upset about. And like she clearly knows that she just told me 3 days ago what my rights were, and now she's not. Now her superior's stopping her from doing it. Right? Because she was going to do her job, right? She's like, I'll send you times to come in for questioning.
Yeah, because it's your rights.
Yeah.
So the superior goes like, no.
Like she doesn't like it, but she'll do it. Right?
Yeah. I mean, she's solid.
So totally solid.
She's solid.
Totally solid. So then, and this is the other mistake these guys make is when they get these pawns to do crimes, they cover their ass. And they're like, this isn't coming from me. It's coming from the top. Yeah. Right? Because it's Finland. It's not like the people aren't corrupt, especially the low-level people. Yeah. They don't do corruption in Finland, right? So the low-level people, you tell them to do crimes, and they're like, oh, by the way, this is a crime. The prosecutor will investigate, basically, is what she's saying, in my view.
You can stop the recording.
Yeah.
Then she emails saying that they won't allow me to come for question. They won't allow me to come for question, and for the money laundering, I should contact National Bureau, and if I feel the police has done an offense, a prosecutor will take the case. Okay, so then what happened?
Well then, the rent lawsuit is going on,
Yeah,
and I have a lawyer. I have a lawyer for the rent lawsuit.
it's going. And I have one lawyer for that specifically.
Yes. Coincidence.
Coincidence.
I talked to her boss.
I talked to her boss. Who? Your lawyer?
Yeah, a guy named Yadi. The boss. My lawyer's Kia, managing the rent lawsuit.
That's Kia.
KIIA.
KIIA. Kia. Can I
Yeah.
talk to her boss? Who?
Yadi.
Yadi.
About all this money laundering and criminal stuff.
To her boss. To her boss. Yadi. About the
Money laundering,
money laundering.
criminal stuff, and the share.
During your research, finding an attorney for that.
Well, I needed an attorney. I got sued by the landlords, so I needed a lawyer. I can't even answer in English.
Sure. So you needed a lawyer. You got Kia.
I got Kia for the rent, right?
Okay.
But then I talked to the. I said I got all these other problems too,
Okay.
and she's like, I can't. I'm not. That's above my skill level.
Yeah.
But maybe my boss can help.
Okay.
So we had a one meeting with her
So
boss.
it's not a coincidence at all.
Oh no, a coincidence with the timing of the police.
Okay.
Because well, you can put it above in the chronology if you want.
No.
So just coincidence. A week before, I talked with Kia's boss, Yadi.
Before I talked to her boss Yadi about the money laundering
And the criminal stuff.
and the criminal stuff.
And he says no one he says he doesn't know what institution in Finland
No
deals with money laundering.
institution in Finland deals with money laundering.
And he makes a bunch of arguments against me that don't work. One of them was dependent on the timing of that undated letter from Ville, and that he was arguing based on that it was sent after the clean break. But I'm like, no, it was sent before the clean break, and then I don't know if you don't have to write this down. But the point is, the conclusion of this meeting is he says specifically he's not representing me.
Conclusion of the meeting. Yadi.
Yeah, JARI.
J-A.
Well, maybe I can double check.
J-A-D-I?
RI.
R-I? Yari.
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 J is a y in a J is a y in Finnish.
Okay. Yari.
Yeah.
doesn't-
JARI Hutti if you want his last name. HYTTI.
No. Yari.
Anyway, Yari. So
Conclusion of the meeting. Yari
makes clear he's not representing me.
makes clear he is not representing me.
But they'll make a proposal.
Then I make.
No, they'll make a proposal.
They make a
They will make a proposal.
They will make a proposal.
So what's clear is there's zero. He's not representing me. That's
Yeah.
literally what he says.
But they will make a proposal.
Yeah, this is before the police call me.
Yeah.
So whatever. The meeting is weird because he tries to talk me out of it. But this can be challenging me,
Sure.
right? Now let's see what the proposal is, right? That's what I pay an attorney to do is challenge my legal ideas,
Yeah.
right? So maybe the proposal is good. I don't know. The meeting was fine, and then if I don't like the proposal, I go to another attorney. So,
Yeah, okay.
but then after then I say what the hell? So then back to the police. I respond, what? Just basically what the hell? And then I tell her to explain my rights to Kia.
I respond to the police email saying what the
Basically,
hell.
paraphrase.
Uh, um, I want the police to contact
Well, explain my rights to
my
Kia.
lawyer, Kia,
Yeah.
and explain my right.
Yeah. So that's all I ask.
Yeah.
Because like they're less likely to lie to a lawyer,
Yeah.
right? And then I expected them to like call Kia. Well, either back down, but I guess they're in it to win it now, right? So then, so I expected they to talk to Kia and Kia talk to me, but instead they phone Yari, her boss.
Instead, they phone Yari,
Who then tells the police I have no case about anything.
police, that I have no case about anything.
And agrees with the police that it's in my interest that all the cases be dropped.
With the police, that it is in my interest the case get all dropped without representing me.
Not without representing me legally. There's no client attorney privilege or anything. There's no power of attorney, and even if he was my attorney, he still needs my permission to act. So this is just like multiple levels of illegality and fraud.
Or any power to do so, even if he was.
Yes.
Okay.
So this is around Christmas.
Yep.
All this is going down like the week before Christmas. Then like I complain.
So
I complain as strongly as I can.
complain as strongly as I can to who?
Well, in email, I think I put like the court and whatever. In email,
As I can to
anybody I can. Obviously, the police constable.
the police, Kia,
Yadi, I explained like what the hell's Yadi doing in this. Like, so I explained it.
Larry, everyone.
Yeah. So I like because they could have just fixed it. They could have just been like, okay, like they could have just fixed it then and put everything back on active.
In one email.
Well, many emails.
What?
Several emails.
In several emails. Okay.
Then I get the letter.
Then I get a letter from the police.
Yeah, saying that
saying there was
never an investigation.
Saying that there was never an investigation.
So there's not, but now there's a case number. This is the first time I actually get a case number of anything. So I phoned the police, and that's the recording you heard before I got here.
But there is a case number on this letter, so I phoned the police.
And I talked to somebody.
And I talked to somebody, and I refer that number.
Yeah, and then he says, and
this
explain.
This recording is on YouTube.
Yeah.
Is on YouTube.
Private. Well,
it's on
private.
YouTube and private. Okay.
Yeah, whatever. And then, this is where he says weird when I explain when he says weird, like is it about the not like about pushing the case. Anyways, that was the conversation where he's like weird when I explained that the police don't don't let me refuse dropping the investigation. So there's that conversation. Then obviously now there's a conflict of interest with Kia, right? Because now like accusing a boss of fraud, right? What's like, and these are supposed to be like pretty important things like power of attorney.
I'm accusing Kia's boss of fraud, so she is now in a conflict of interest.
Right. So, but she can still respond like the court. She can still respond to the court about the lawsuit.
She can still respond to the court about my rent.
Yeah.
So.
No, maybe I should get another lawyer. Maybe she can deal with the rent lawsuit. Anyways, but even worse, she sends me before New Year a bunch of a material.
Before New Year, she sent you
A bunch of material of
Send
the court the
material from
the court
the court
that needs to be answered before the
That
10th.
needs to be answered before January 10th, 2022.
After New Year, January 2nd.
After New Year, January 2nd,
Yeah, I respond to Kia, like
I respond to Kia.
I get automatic reply.
I get, okay, I won't.
Well, I get reply that she's on vacation until the 10th.
She is on vacation until the 10th.
Talk to Yari.
I have to talk to Yari.
So what the fuck? What the fucking fuck? And she doesn't say this in before January,
Yeah, sure.
right? So, anyways, coincidence, maybe. I try to call the court. Court refuses to give me any delay.
I tried to call the court.
Email the court. They refuse any delay.
They refuse any delay.
Like I would have accepted Kia handle it because I trust her.
Yeah.
And then like the conflict of interest isn't so huge that she couldn't
Yeah.
do a simple landlord suit. But I'm not gonna fucking talk to Yari.
Sure.
Anyway, so so then I get finally. I try to negotiate more time. I try to find another lawyer. Finally, I get another lawyer.
I find another lawyer.
Aussie,
Aussie.
like the 9th.
O-S-E.
OSSI.
O-S-S-I.
Yeah. The 9th, like the day before the due date.
Aussie on the 9th, the day before the due date.
And he gets more time.
He gets more time. He gets more time.
So now I have Aussie. Now, Aussie's great. I can't say enough good things about my lawyer. And this is like after trying to talking to over probably 30 lawyers at this point.
Sure. Okay.
And then so he manages the rent case, and then in parallel
Manages the rent case.
and then
And in parallel.
I negotiate over Christmas. I negotiate
over Christmas.
I negotiate a resolution agreement with Eva and Urs.
A resolution agreement with Eva and Urs.
Yeah. And they leave it to Christmas Eve. Like I'm always available to negotiate, but they leave it to Christmas Eve. We come to like not an agreement, but like what could be an agreement, right? We discuss the key points. I say, you draft this tomorrow. I'll sign it. So this is Christmas Eve, and then it does actually resolve everything.
It would have resolved everything with them.
Yeah.
Everything with them. Okay.
And then my logic is there's the loss. Like I don't even have a lawyer now, so I'm just like.
You don't have Aussie? Oh yeah, no.
I don't have Aussie yet. This is over Christmas.
Yeah.
So all this craziness with the police is happening. So things are getting like overwhelming. If the Ava and Urs wanted a resolution, whatever, I'll sign. I don't even have a lawyer, so I don't even know if I could ever defend myself, right? Also, they're saying that they're almost completed the audit. So I'm like, maybe things aren't so bad. Like, maybe like because if the auditor, maybe the auditor has some sort of strange power to decide who owns what shares. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, maybe things aren't so bad, and then okay, we can resolve this. But anyways, fast forward to Aussie. Then they draft the agreement, they draft the agreement then in January.
Yeah.
But what changes? What changes is it was Christmas Eve that we come to a more or less understanding. Christmas, January 2nd is when I get the letter from Kia. So now I'm panicked because if I can't defend myself, I'll just lose against the landlords, right? Automatically.
Yeah.
Right, and then I gotta pay, I don't know, maybe 5,000 euros or something. Right. So now the agreement's no longer good enough. Like I would have signed on Christmas. Things seemed relatively stable. There was this craziness with Yari, but if Kia just managed my rent lawsuit, and then whatever, I could let go of the police.
Yeah.
Right. Like because I've been.
You have enough problems like that.
Yeah, you've got enough problems now, right? But Kia withdrawing changed my situation dramatically because now I'm I'm not going to sign an agreement.
Kia withdrawing,
or being on vacation, being unavailable,
unavailable, changes my situation,
and
which makes the resolution negotiated with Urs and Eva over Christmas no longer good enough for my situation.
Yeah, if I would have signed anything that actually created peace and calm. Right, but if I then am being sued by them, the police are going to kill me. Right, that doesn't seem peaceful or calm to me.
But like they don't have anything to do with your.
No, the police is a totally separate thing.
No, but like the landlord doesn't have anything to do.
No, but it's just like I want like.
The landlord and Urs and Eva doesn't have to do anything.
Well, first, they created the problem.
Oh yeah, true.
First, they created the problem.
True. Yeah.
And second, they told it's because Satu, the landlord, reaches out to Eva about the landlord thing, trying to maybe mediate through Eva. Eva just tells her, "I'm a criminal, sue me." So it's basically, and she puts this in writing, what she said. Like, this is in writing what Eva, exactly what Eva says to Satu, and back and forth. And then they accuse me of blackmailing them.
Okay.
But anyways, the point is just from a strategic point of view. If I'm going down anyways, the resolution agreement doesn't help me.
Yeah.
Right. And my last resort strategically is going public. In which case I got to kind of go public about everything.
Okay, so no longer good enough for which makes the resolution negotiated with Urs and Eva over Christmas no longer good enough for my situation.
Yeah.
And so?
I propose we talk.
I propose we talk.
Because if they talk to me and they're like, okay, yeah, we understand the landlord issue. Maybe they felt responsible a bit.
If they understand the landlord issue, they may feel responsible a bit.
So had they been like, okay, we got your back, or we'll help you find a lawyer.
Sure.
Had they been helpful in any way, I would have signed the resolution. I didn't even say it needs to be renegotiated.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, I've got this difficult situation. If they're willing to help, I would have signed the resolution agreement.
In some ways, and that would give me confidence, and so I would sign the resolution.
Yeah, so had they helped me just at least defend my case, and then been like, oh, look, financially we'll help you if you lose the case.
Help me to defend myself, or have my back financially, it would have been very different.
Yeah.
So then what happened?
Well, they refuse. And they negotiate below my minimum.
And they
push things below my minimum.
Below my minimum. Okay.
So at Christmas, I said, this is my minimum position. So it's my minimum acceptable position. By definition, I'll accept it.
Acceptable position. Yeah.
Right? By definition, I'll accept it.
Mm-hmm.
But I say, going below my minimum, by definition, is not acceptable. That's what a minimum means, right?
Yeah.
So before Christmas, it was 500 euros a month, which is compatible with my labor market subsidy, or whatever it's called. I can make up to 500 without losing my
You
public support.
sign an agreement with them on May 12th saying they will pay you 6 months salary.
Yeah, but that then gets ends.
This deal is not valid anymore?
No, I got the 6 month salary, or it's coming to an end. The 6 month salary.
Oh yeah,
Right.
Okay. They refuse and they negotiate my minimal acceptable. Okay, yeah, sure. They refuse and they negotiated below my minimum acceptable position. Okay.
So they specifically going from 400 to 500 to 400.
Specifically going from 500 euros
To 400.
to 400. Well, you're not working for them anymore.
No,
Why?
well, no, this would be paid for like advice. I would be available like I think 3-4 hours a month to advise them.
Okay, so
This is like a minimum advice contract.
okay, on a minimum advice contract. So so I have a question because like you haven't told me how it's resolved.
No, well, this is what happens in January.
Yeah, but like in at the last like we haven't talked about solar fire since because like I write nothing gets resolved. The only advance in the situation is myself entering manually my claim into the police online system in the summer.
Well, nothing gets resolved that year. Those three things are happening in parallel, and then they kind of converge again in this moment.
Okay. Okay, they have okay. Got it. 100 euros to 400. Okay. Yeah.
And you could put 4 things happening in parallel. I'm also being sued by my landlords.
Yeah, no, I already made that.
Yeah. So then, so they push the 500 to 400. They say the company just can't afford more. 100 fucking euros a month. There's not like 30 people in the company. And their whole logic of why it can't be 500 is financial difficulty of the company.
Mm-hmm.
Then they also spend almost half the time negotiating, trying to make it that they can suspend payment at any time for any amount of time. Like no. So then that gets eventually like they could stop payment 2 months, a year, but still owe me the money. Anyways, it gets resolved something like that. But they spent almost the whole time just being like the company can decide not to pay you this minimum amount.
Do you sign this?
No.
Okay.
So then
I don't sign this.
Yeah. The other thing they remove, the other minimum thing that they go beyond is there was a no harm clause that the company has to stop harming me, and likewise I would not harm the company.
Yeah.
They just removed this. They removed the no harm principle.
Oh, okay.
Why? Because a lawyer told Urs like, hey, you might have to stop harming this guy. Like, you really want that? You want to live in a world where you're not in this.
Also, they have removed the non-harm clause between me and the company.
Yes, and this is an important part of the story. Just because when I said I would have signed it Christmas, I would have, and they decided to negotiate Christmas Eve. I was available for the previous year, and then they're like, no, they were like. Whatever, everyone's on vacation. We'll get to it later. I'm like, this seems important resolution. We have a moment here. We can resolve everything. Right? Like, this is also just they just don't take the job seriously.
Okay.
Anyways, but they push below my minimum, which I'd said. So I'm keeping my word that if you push below my minimum, I won't take the deal.
Yeah, sure.
So then Aussie's on the rent case, and then I get Aussie to review this deal.
I get Aussie to review the deal anyway.
Yeah, because maybe it's my best option.
Maybe it's your best option.
Yeah, and I ask him to look into the share registry thing.
To look into the shareholders.
The registered share issue.
Registry. The registered.
Well, share ownership.
Issue.
The share ownership.
The registered share ownership problem.
Yeah. So I'm like, I own these 600,000 shares. I don't see how they changed hands.
Yeah.
Right? And then I'm like, do you look into that? And you look at the agreement. And then he phones me a couple of days later. He's like, I looked into the share ownership and you own 51%.
He he phones you on what date? He phones me.
Well, this must be like mid-January.
He phones me sometime in January, saying he did look into the share situation and I own 51%.
So then, so I'm like, well, okay, well, if that so this is clearly better. Also, so there's two reasons to then make the claim. First, because they pushed me below my minimum on the resolution agreement.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to keep my word. If I say a minimum, that's the minimum.
Sure.
Then the other reason is there's clearly something seriously wrong. It should not be that because I think the auditor has approved the share ownership thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, it should not be possible. It should not be the situation that the board and the auditor is saying one thing about corporate documents, and an attorney is saying 100% false.
Yeah.
Something seriously wrong.
Okay.
So the other reason to make the claim is to fix the company bookkeeping. We should not have false books. So I
made the claim.
So he makes the claim.
So he makes the claim.
Claim is accepted.
Claim is accepted by who?
By the auditor, the board, and they this new attorney enters the scene called Marco.
So Aussie makes the claim to the board.
Yeah.
Aussie makes the claim to the board, saying,
well, the Finnish laws, the first actual lawyer work to appear in this story is Aussie's claim, where he cites the laws,
and
right?
he says,
well, I own the shares, and there's no evidence that they've transferred.
Claim is accepted by the auditor and the board?
And the board, and an attorney called Marco, who enters the scene.
And an attorney called Marco, who enters the scene now.
More or less hired at the same moment.
Okay. So, wait. Aussie then makes the claim to Solarfire and go like, okay, auditor, okay, board, Eric owns 51%. And they all say yes?
Yeah.
Is there proof of that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like there's official, this Marco guy answers my lawyer, Aussie.
Okay, then you have 51%.
And they make a new share registry. With me, it's 51%.
Okay, so Solarfire makes a new share register with me owning 51%.
Yeah. So finally, there will be peace and quiet.
Finally, it will be resolved. Well, now
I'm in a pretty good negotiating position.
Now it's good.
Yes.
I mean, there's no negotiation. You call a shareholders meeting and you re-elect the board.
Well, this is my mistake.
Now that's what you can do.
But I still thought there was potential. Like, I don't deny, like, I've been trying to resolve things.
Yeah.
And I never deny Urs and Lauren value to the firm.
Sure.
I view them as good executives. Like, they're great executives, right? At making projects, making things happen, and so on. So, like, and Ava tells me that they're sorry. And they like recognize they make mistakes, that it was fraudulent. Like Ava writes them a letter that this is serious fraud.
Also, Eva wrote a letter. Also, Eva said to me.
She wrote a letter to them.
Okay. Eva wrote a letter to Urs and Lauren.
Yeah, well, the board, Urs, Lauren, and Will.
And Lauren, to Urs and Lauren and Will. That this is serious fraud.
And keyword, she describes this as amateurish, like they don't even know who owns the company.
Apparently, they are sorry, and Eva call their work amateurish,
And she apologizes to me for not listening to me.
and she apologized to me for not listening. Okay. Well,
So then Ava and I then agree on a what's called what we call a roadmap.
Eva and I agree to a roadmap.
She also tells them that if they challenge this, it's going to be me and Ava, them against me and Ava in court, and they'll get destroyed.
Yeah.
So things seem stable, and so then, but Ava, and I own 51%. I can call a shareholders meeting. Well, I should be able to call a shareholders meeting. Like by law, things should be pretty stable, right? And then Ava and I agree on a 4-point roadmap, right?
Which there is 4 points.
You want to see the letter? Because maybe it's not a short letter. Okay, well, I'll find this email. Then it says what we agreed on.
Sure.
Stop.